It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations. We cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
You've got to love Sportsman Show season. The two biggest ones just wrapped up last weekend. The Great American Outdoors Show in Harrisburg, PA was, by all reports, very successful again this year. And the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, Oregon lived up to its reputation of being the biggest sportsman show west of the Mississippi with huge crowds and hundreds of exhibitors. I've not exhibited in that latter show for a couple of years and frankly forgot just how big it is. Just about every fishing rod company from the Midwest to the West Coast had their offerings in Portland, as did a large number of well-known fishing reel, fishing line, and hook and tackle companies. Though Eagle Claw from Denver, I missed seeing you there. Sorry you didn't make it this year. In addition to all of those companies that made it, there were lots of smaller companies, mom and pop operations churning out everything from lures that work in local waters to fire starting kits. And yes, there were guides and outfitters from all over the western U.S., as well as Alaska, Canada, Mexico, Africa, New Zealand, and yes, I probably missed a few other places you could book an adventure to. We got to record audio with several of these outfitters and the owner of a new company that you may not have heard of before. That latter company is KastKing. That's Cast with a K, out of Garden City, New York. They make some really nice fishing rods, fishing reels, and fly line. And we'll talk to the director of product development, Al Noraker, about some of their rods they had on display at the show. On the outfitter side, Tedd Jenkins caught my eye and my ear. He'll take you hunting for antelope, mule deer, and Rocky Mountain elk out of his well-appointed tent camp in Western Wyoming, less than an hour's drive away from Jackson Hole and the entrance to Grand Teton National Park. And today, he's going to tell you more about those opportunities. From Wyoming, we'll head to Southern California, San Diego to be exact, because San Diego's Fisherman's Landing was at the show too. They offer one-day and multi-day trips for all sorts of different saltwater species, everything from rockfish to yellowfin to tuna, many of which you'll find off both the west coast and the east coast of our United States. Carl Schmidt joins us to give you the scoop on what you can catch in the spring months near San Diego and off the west coast of Mexico's Baja Peninsula. We've also got big news to share from a very well-known player in the firearms industry, and I'm afraid it's not good. And in other news, we've got the results from several Fishing League worldwide bass tournaments that took place in Arizona and Georgia last week. But before we share that, we've got one more outfitter to introduce you to. Next on America Outdoors Radio, as you've probably heard over the last few months, one of our sponsors is the Dalles Area Chamber of Commerce. They're located in Oregon State. They're right on the Columbia River. And folks, the Columbia River is one of the best fisheries in the nation, and it really fishes well any time of year. To prove that point, we're going to talk to longtime Dalles area guide Ed Iman. He's the owner of Ed Iman Guide Service, who's got 3 suggestions for fishing the Columbia from now through April. Ed, great to have you on the show.
Good to be here, Johnny. First off, let's talk about walleye fishing. That's what's going right now, and it's going really well. Dalles area, below the Dalles Dam, up below the John Day Dam. Main technique right now is guys are using a lot of bottom walkers and spinner worm harness setups, fishing them downstream anywhere from 10, 12 feet of water out to 35, 40 feet. And there's walleye just about everywhere scattered out through there, and the catch is really excellent for eater fish. I call eaters, 17 to 20, 24 inches. And you go out and catch you 10 of them a piece, and you've got a really good meal, and probably some left over in the freezer for tomorrow.
That's fine and well, but you and I both know that people fly out here from the Midwest for a shot at a world record walleye, and nobody knows about that any more than you do. You have caught and possibly released that very record yourself from the Columbia River. Do you expect the next record to be broken here on the Columbia and probably during the winter?
I do, but I don't believe that it would possibly come below the John Day Dam. You might get it up Umatilla down through Crow Butte area, but the high possibility is from McNary Dam up through the Tri-Cities, and the reason for that is there's no netting above the John Day Dam. So the bigger fish survive longer, and that's my forecast, that fish will come out of the Columbia, but I'm forecasting that it'll be above McNary Dam.
The state record for both Oregon and Washington is right around 20 pounds for walleye right now. And for those that are not familiar with our Pacific Northwest fisheries, the tribes do net in the Columbia River, and sometimes they will inadvertently pick up those walleye while they are trying to net salmon and steelhead. Let's change to another fishery, and that would be the monsters that swim in the Columbia River, sturgeon. The catch and keep season just ended, but there's a catch and release season around the Dalles that's available all year.
It is, and it's really an excellent fishery. It's easy to fish. You're close to accommodations. You can come in there within a matter of minutes from the boat ramp. We've got you set up fishing, and hey, guys that come and fish for the oversized sturgeon with me, I tell them we can be out there all day, catch as many fish as you want, or until I have to take the rod. And if I have to take the rod, it's game over, and we're going to the bank.
And folks, I'll tell you what, if you've never wrestled with a big sturgeon before, I'm talking 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 feet. For many of you, it's going to be one and done because these things fight like crazy. They will jump out of the water. It's definitely a bucket list fish to catch, a trophy sturgeon, and they are plentiful in the Columbia too, especially around the Dalles.
They are. They really are. You know, people want to kind of, well, tell me what it's like. I said, well, the best way to describe it is take your fishing rod, go out in the parking lot and hook onto a Volkswagen and say, get it on.
All right, one last fishery to talk about, and it's one that doesn't get a lot of attention at all, and that would be channel catfish. I understand that you can catch those this time of year in a tributary of the Columbia River, the John Day, the lower John Day, right where it feeds into the Columbia.
That's absolutely true, and it's an excellent fishery. That's a great eating fish. You can go up in there just a little ways, or you can run up to what they call the Narrows, which is up about, 12 miles, something like that. Now, they have reopened the inner park up there, and it's full facility again, and that makes it really nice to go up there and hang out and have a picnic, and you can even camp up there and catch the catfish. The easiest way to catch them is a lot of guys use chicken livers or night crawlers. I just use night crawlers, and I take my night crawlers and I fish them just a little bit different. I'll take and peg a corky or something with a toothpick about a foot above my hook. So when I put my bait on the bottom, my bait is actually floating up just a little bit, and it makes it easier for the fish to come along and find it and bite it.
Well, there you go. A great catfishing tip and a new place to catch them you've probably never thought about before. Again, folks, it's the Dalles. And as you just heard, it's a great destination to go to right now. Again, you've got walleye anywhere from eater size up to a potential world record. You've got trophy sturgeon fishing, sturgeon all the way up to 10, 11 feet long. And you've got channel cats too. And when you're done fishing for the day, head to the Dalles, make it your base camp. Lots of great hotels. And they've got a booming brewery district that is formed up there, along with lots of restaurants to choose from. It's the perfect base camp for a fishing expedition. If you want to go fishing with Ed, give him a call. His phone number, 541-298-3753. That's Ed Iman Guide Service. His phone number again, 541-298-3753. That's 541-298-3753 for quite an adventure near the Dalles. Thanks for sharing this with us, Ed.
And thank you, John, and we'll see you at Fish Camp.
Where can you find 4 rivers, 3 great fisheries, 2 majestic mountains, and 1 fantastic adventure all year round? Sensational the Dalles. Active community, authentic food, and great beer. ExploreTheDalles.com. Come and create your own adventure, and maybe even you can hook a river monster in the Dalles.
If you consider yourself a hardcore fisherman who takes pride in being the first person on the water and the last one off, Fish Fighter products were designed for you. Fish Fighter products are used by the top fishing guides in the Northwest because they know having the right equipment is imperative to a successful fishing trip. With our Relentless Series tackle trays, rocket launcher rod racks, and breakaway river anchors, you'll spend more time chasing the fish, not your gear. Designed and built right here in the USA. Gear up at fishfighterproducts.com.
Are you ready for your best of the West affordable summer vacation? Hello, I'm Mark Hemstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. Many of the big hotel chains will have hidden extra fees for things like parking, internet, so-called resort fees, and lots more. The list is as long as it is sneaky. But at Shiloh Inns and Suites Hotels, there are no hidden fees. Shiloh amenities are all free, like Shiloh's spacious pools and spas, steam and sauna rooms, fully equipped fitness centers, and even the kids stay free. And don't forget that Shiloh Inns also provide a free continental or full hot delicious breakfast at most Shiloh Inns. Now that's affordable excellence. For reservations, call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohinns.com. Smoke-free and dog-friendly Shiloh Inns. American family-owned and proud of it.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We're broadcasting from the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, Oregon. Lots of outfitters here, lots of outfitters that want to take you hunting too, but sometimes you're kind of hard-pressed to find a quality outfitter in the state of Wyoming. I don't know why that is, but you just don't see too many of them. Well, we found one. His name is Tedd Jenkins. He is the owner of Jenkins Hunting Camp in Western Wyoming. Tedd, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, Tedd, Montana hunting outfitters are a dime a dozen, but you just don't see too many Wyoming outfitters. Why is that?
Oh, we're all kind of family organizations. A lot of us are, and it's a way of life in Wyoming. It's not a hobby or anything like that. A lot of the guys in the business, this is what we do. So you got to love it.
Let's talk about where you're located in Wyoming.
I'm located here in Western Wyoming, about 50 miles south of Jackson Hole. I hunt in the famous Grays River and Wyoming Range, also the head of the Hoback River, kind of famous ranges for elk and mule deer in our country.
And you offer hunts for 3 different species, antelope, elk, and deer, and I thought we'd just work our way through the 3 different types of hunts you offer. But before we get into all that, we probably need to talk about tags. So how does it work in the state of Wyoming for getting a tag to go hunting with you?
Well, in Wyoming, it's especially where I hunt here in the West, it's all a draw basis on the tags. So Wyoming does offer preference points for these draw units. Some units are a lot harder to get than others, and so sometimes it takes years to get them tags. Other years that you can get them without points. They also offer the special and regular draws, which the special draw costs more money, but your odds go up in the state of Wyoming for that higher price tag.
So I'm guessing that the elk tags are the hardest to get. The deer tags are a little easier, and the antelope are the easiest of all?
No, that's not necessarily correct, especially where I hunt. I hunt in regions G and H for deer, which can be G especially. It's extremely difficult deer tag to pull. The elk actually is probably my easiest tag to get out of all 3 of those species.
Very interesting. So why are the deer tags so hard to get? Is it just because the area is known for trophy deer?
Absolutely. Region G especially is known for its trophy deer, and Region H also has its trophy deer in it. Region H has got a lot of wilderness area on the eastern side of it, so that non-residents have to have guides, and so that kind of takes the market down a little bit. It's not as popular with the neighboring states as it is for the Region G, which is all national forest, and you don't need a guide there.
All right. And so when it comes to the deer, are we talking mule deer, are we talking whitetail, or are we hunting both?
Here in the West, I hunt just mule deer. I'm hunting high country. My camp sits at 9,000 feet elevation. It's hard for whitetails to get a holt in our country. There's a few around, but nobody actively hunts them in Western Wyoming here.
Okay. So for all you whitetail listeners out there, you can just tune out for a couple minutes because we're going to be talking about mule deer, Rocky Mountain elk, and some pronghorn. And let's start with the pronghorn. You're not using the same camp for the pronghorn as you are for the deer and elk, are you?
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of unique is a lot of other outfitters in Wyoming put you up in a lodge or a motel. I go ahead and house you in my Forest Service camp, and then we get in a vehicle and drive about 45 minutes to our antelope area, and we can hunt some nice antelope within that time frame.
Interesting. Well, I guess we ought to tell folks about your camp then.
Yeah, I've got a high country forest camp that's a pack-in camp right at the moment. For our antelope, it's a drive-to camp still, but it's still on the forest. And then we hunt with horses from that camp for our elk and deer. And, of course, like I said before, our antelope is a four-wheel drive hunt from either pickup four-wheel drives or ATVs, just depending on the situation where we're going.
All right. Well, let's get back to the antelope. What's the season for them? I'm guessing that's what you're going after first.
Yeah, antelope season opens pretty much first for the rifle. It opens up September 10th where I hunt and pretty much runs the whole hunting season through October. So a little bit of flexibility on if you want to throw an antelope hunt on as a combination with a mule deer or an elk. It's very popular to do that.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea. And what's the success rate for antelope with you?
Our success rate is 100%. I've never sent anybody home without an antelope. Antelope in Wyoming are outnumber the people, so you see a lot of animals. Antelope hunt's a really fun hunt, especially for youth hunters or somebody just getting their feet wet in big game hunting. Antelope is a great hunt. You're going to see a lot of animals, have lots of opportunity, and it's a really, really good experience.
Oh, it sounds like an absolutely great experience. All right, so we've covered the antelope. Let's go ahead and talk about the mule deer.
Yeah, our mule deer here in the Western Wyoming, we hunt Region G and H in Wyoming, which is, in my opinion, probably the go-to areas for trophy mule deer in the West here. We had a little rough winter last year, but, we're in a pretty mild winter this year. Our deer are bouncing back really, really well. So, and we've seen a lot of the 5-6-year-old class age deer last year that should be really good trophy animals this year. So, and if we have a couple more winters like we have this year in the next 4 or 5 years, our herd will bounce back,
So when it comes to a shooter muley, are we talking, at least a 3-point, or are we going a lot bigger than that?
We should be able to find something bigger than that. Our average buck is in the 170 to 175 class. With the opportunities of getting 185 to 200 plus bucks, there's several 200 plus bucks killed in this region every year. So, in both regions G and H. So I had a little bit more success in Region H recently just because my clients are hunting there more because the tags are a little bit easier to draw. But the quality of deer are the same in both Region G and H where I hunt it. It's a great opportunity to get in there and kill a nice 200-inch class deer.
Folks, you're hearing some background noise, and that's because, again, we're broadcasting from the floor of the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland. The doors are opening up. The crowds are starting to come in, so that's the noise you're hearing in the background. But let's go ahead and talk about the elk before we go. I'm guessing that's probably your most popular hunt, or are the deer hunts your most popular?
Well, deer and elk are kind of similar there. The elk hunts are more popular just for the fact that the licenses are a little easier to draw. Wyoming, again, has on the elk the special and regular tags, and a lot of guys are getting that special tag without any preference points. It's a general elk area that I hunt, and, we're getting some nice bulls. Our average bull's in the high 200s, with several bulls, we get several bulls over that 300 mark and some even up to the 350, 370 class.
Those are nice elk indeed. The last question, what's the price and what's the length of the hunt?
On my elk hunts, I run 5 days for $4,500. That's 5 full days of hunting, and that's out of my tent camp with horses. That includes everything except for your license and your personal gear.
And the deer and the antelope, and a combo.
I run 5-day mule deer hunts for the same price as elk, $4,500. We kind of have the same camp, a lot of the same type of scenarios, but I do a 3-day antelope hunt. I run it for $2,000. I do a combination deer and elk or deer and antelope combinations, a 6-day hunt for $4,700.
All right. Well, the crowds are starting to swarm, so we better wrap this up by giving out your website.
Yes, my website is jenkinshunt.com.
That's jenkinshunt.com, Jenkins, hunt.com. Check it out if you're after an elk, deer, or antelope hunt in Western Wyoming. Sounds like it's quite the adventure. Thanks for telling us about this, Ted, on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'd like to welcome a new sponsor to our show. It's Sportsman's Cove Lodge, and many anglers who have been there will tell you it really is Alaska's best lodge. Sportsman's Cove Lodge sits on a salmon highway full of kings and silvers. There's halibut too, and there are some really big ones. Finally, with decades of experience taking care of customers, Sportsman's Cove Lodge knows how to treat you right from start to finish. Ready to book your trip of a lifetime? Then call Sportsman's Cove Lodge at 800-962-7889. That's 800-962-7889. 800-962-7889 for Sportsman's Cove Lodge.
It doesn't matter what sort of adventure you're after, whether it's big game deep in the backcountry, a day of fishing out on the water, or an overnight in the great outdoors. At Sportsman's Warehouse, we've got the gear in here for what you need out there. Gear up for your next adventure at one of the Sportsman's Warehouse stores or shop online. Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter.
Next on America Outdoors Radio, we're bringing you audio from the floor of the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, Oregon. And there's a lot of folks here that are selling fishing rods, and some of them are actual manufacturers. Well, we've come across one that's very interesting. It's KastKing. That's Kast with a K, King with a K as well, as you might imagine. And they're kind of the new kid on the block. You may not have heard of them before, but I think you're going to want to hear about them because they're doing some really special things with fishing rods. With us here to tell us more about it is Al Noraker, the Director of Product Development. Al, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you very much. We're really excited to be here at the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show. We've been doing shows all over the country this year already. I've been in Edison, New Jersey, and Denver, Colorado. Shortly after I leave here, I'll be down in South Carolina launching a brand new line of bass fishing rods for the elite fishermen down at the Bassmaster Classic. So we are really crisscrossing the country right now, visiting fishermen and anglers in all parts of the country, all different techniques and certainly all different species.
So I want to talk a little bit about your rods because there's a couple things going on with them. Number one, extremely lightweight. Number two, definitely high quality from what I'm seeing, but at a very good price point. How are you managing all of this?
Okay, so the KastKing story is a really unique story. I come from a background of traditional retail and traditional manufacturing to retail, and the KastKing story is quite different. We are a consumer direct business. We sell all of our products through e-commerce, mostly through Amazon and other facilities like Amazon around the country and really around the world. So what we're able to do, and KastKing has been known for really very high quality, high performance products that are incredibly priced to bring exceptional value to the consumer. And we're able to do that but through our own manufacturing ability and designs, but yet we don't have all those middle levels of markups that raises prices to the consumer. We don't have sales reps around the country that have bills to pay and expenses to cover. So what we do is we put as much quality and performance into every product that we make, and that includes braided fishing lines, fly lines, certainly spinning reels, casting reels, and now at this show launched a new series of salmon steelhead rods called KastKing Chrome. That's spelled Krome. It kind of goes along with the way as steelhead and salmon fishermen we talk about chromers and nice mint bright fresh from the ocean chrome salmon and steelhead, and that's the name of this series. This is a line of rods that is extremely high quality. if you were to look at these rods, and I wish I could show your listeners these in person, but if you see these rods, you'll understand very quickly that this is a very different rod.
Well, let's talk about some of the high points, because, I mean, obviously you have the body itself, you have the butt of the rod, you have the guides too. How do those differ from traditional rods?
Okay, so I start with a blank that I've designed that truly gives all the performance that the serious salmon steelhead angler needs every day, and that, of course, is sensitivity and power. So we start with a Toray carbon matrix rod blank. This is about an IM8 rod blank, but in addition to that, I'm using all nanosilica resins. Nanosilica resins are quite important because it really helps the performance of the rod by reducing weight and increasing strength by taking those small nano-sized resin particles and getting those deeper into that blank construction to reduce weight by using less resin and also by increasing the strength by filling in all those small pores and cracks throughout the composite material.
So tell me briefly about the tangle-free guides and how they're tangle-free and how they're different from guides you'd find on a regular rod.
Okay, so the Fuji K-frame tangle-free guides, it's the actual shape of the guide which makes it tangle-free. It allows that braided line to kind of slip over the side of the frame of the guide so that you don't have those wind knots and tangles. Much higher performance guide, and they're very expensive, but you'll only find those on really the highest quality rods in the industry out there.
And I've definitely had those tangles, so I'm glad to see this. Again, folks, these are beautiful rods. It's the Cromer with the K, but the next question I have for you is, just listening to you describe this, I'm thinking these got to be $300, $400 rods. What is the price point?
Okay, so these rods, if you were to find these in traditional retail, you'd be looking at a rod well over $500. Through KastKing and our direct-to-consumer marketing efforts, we start at $139, and the highest price rod here is actually the 12-foot Pro Troller rod, and that's only $169.
We are unfortunately running out of time here, but folks, these are some beautiful rods here, and I'm going to give you 30 seconds to talk about the walleye rods, because the biggest thing about these that I see is they're extreme lightweight.
Okay, 11 rods in the series, 640,000 strain rate rods, less than 3.4 ounces on most models, extremely sensitive. Got to find one of these for sure.
Absolutely, and I can't wait to hear more about the new bass rods too. Again, the company is KastKing. That's Cast with a K, King with a K. You're not going to find them in retail stores. You've got to go online. You've got to go to places like Amazon or to their website at KastKing, KastKing.com. Check out their rods, check out their reels, check out their fly line. They've got all sorts of stuff, very high quality, but at a price point you're going to appreciate. Al, thanks for telling us about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you on the water.
Al mentioned the Bassmaster Elite Series, and with tournament fishing in mind, we thought we'd bring you some results from 3 different tournaments put on by Fishing League Worldwide last weekend. We'll start off with the FLW Western Division opener on Arizona's Lake Havasu, where the results will tell you there's something to be said for having the old home field advantage. The winner, local angler Sean Bailey, who, over the course of 3 days, brought in 15 bass weighing 49 pounds and 5 ounces. This was Bailey's first FLW tournament win, and he used several techniques to get the pre-spawn bass he was finding about 20 feet deep in sunken brush piles to his boat. Bailey took home a check worth over $40,000 with the win. Second place went to David Valdivia of Norwalk, California, and third place went to Justin Kerr from Simi Valley, California, whose 15 fish weighed just 1 pound. 5 ounces less than the winner's limit of bass. Now that's a close contest. The college boys were fishing too on Lake Havasu last weekend in a Yeti FLW college fishing tournament. The team that came out on top? The Oregon State Beavers. Using reaction baits and finesse worms on drop shot rigs, the duo of Eric Kennedy and William Eschleman reeled in 4 bass weighing 9 pounds and 9 ounces last Saturday. What's even more interesting about this win, where nobody in the top 10 brought in a 5-fish limit at the college level, was that the winning team had never fished the lake before, and one of the winners, Eric Kennedy, had never even been to Arizona before he fished this event. How's that for an improbable finish? Heading east to southern Georgia's Lake Seminole, Bethel University trounced the competition with students Cole Floyd and Carter McNeil winning the Yeti FLW college fishing event there with a one-day 5-bass limit, weighing in at over 28 pounds. That bag was about 6.5 pounds heavier than the second-place team's limited bass, a team that also came out of Bethel University. Not a bad day for that bass club, which took home nearly $5,000 in prize money between them and who will both advance to the 2019 College Fishing National Championship. Fishing League Worldwide puts on all sorts of tournaments around the nation at both the professional and the college level. If you want to find out more about them, just go to their website. You'll find it at flwfishing.com. Stick around. We've got a whole lot more of the outdoors coming your way from the floor of the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland, Oregon.
If you consider yourself a hardcore fisherman who takes pride in being the first person on the water and the last one off, Fish Fighter products are designed and built for you right here in the USA. Fish Fighter products are used by the top fishing guides in the Northwest because they know having the right equipment is imperative to a successful fishing trip. With our Relentless Series tackle trays, rocket launcher rod wraps, and breakaway river anchors, Fish Fighter products makes the gear you can count on. Find out more at fishfighterproducts.com.
I'd like to welcome a new sponsor to our show. It's Sportsman's Cove Lodge, and many anglers who have been there will tell you it really is Alaska's best lodge. Sportsman's Cove Lodge sits on a salmon highway full of kings and silvers. There's halibut too, and there are some really big ones. Finally, with decades of experience taking care of customers, Sportsman's Cove Lodge knows how to treat you right from start to finish. Ready to book your trip of a lifetime? Then call Sportsman's Cove Lodge at 800-962-7889. That's 800-962-7889. 800-962-7889 for Sportsman's Cove Lodge.
There's no more majestic, magical, adventuresome country than the Western United States of America to enjoy a great family vacation. Hello, I'm Mark Hemstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. Shiloh Inns are still offering affordable 4-star accommodations at 2-star prices. Enjoy deluxe smoke-free suites, spacious pools and spas, and fully equipped fitness centers. From free high-speed internet in every room to a free continental breakfast or full, hot, delicious breakfast at most Shiloh Inns. There are no hidden fees like some of the big chain hotels charge. Even the kids stay free, and Shiloh Inns are dog-friendly. For reservations, call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohinns.com. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence. American family-owned and proud of it.
Last summer, 5 Dallas law enforcement officers were killed while protecting hundreds of protesters who marched against America's police. My brother, Mike Kroll, was one of them. No protesters lost their lives. No media were hit by bullets. But Mike was there, protecting, serving, sacrificing, as he did every day for 8 years on the Dalles PD. My brother gave his life protecting those who marched against him. That's why I back our blue.
It's time America honored its police again. I'm Wayne LaPierre with the NRA. Help us back our blue by donating your vehicles to NRA Cars for Freedom, and we'll come pick them up. Donations are tax deductible and will support the NRA Foundation's law enforcement training to active and retired police officers. Help us back our blue. Visit NRACarsForFreedom.com or call 1-866-NRA-GIFT today.
Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, a nationwide group working to keep public lands in public hands. We've helped ban the use of drones for hunting. We help repair wildlife corridors in key riparian areas. We speak up against illegal ATV use. Please join this dynamic conservation group. Check us out at backcountryhunters.org.
You're back with America Outdoors Radio. We've got some outdoors news for you, and this segment is brought to you by Fish Fighter Products. We got to meet with the president, Chuck Ciccarelli, and part of his crew at the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland. They rolled out some new products that we are really excited to tell you about in the coming weeks. But if you want to find out more right now, just go to their website. You'll find it at fishfighterproducts.com. Our first story is about Remington. That company is in trouble. Several sources are reporting the iconic firearms and ammunition manufacturer is filing for bankruptcy in an effort to reduce $700 million worth of debt. Sources in the firearms industry have seen this coming, but believe the move will keep Remington alive as a going concern and continued presence in the outdoors and firearms industry. Remington is headquartered in North Carolina, and they've got a huge factory in New York. Like most in the gun industry, Remington sales have dipped because there's no longer fear that guns will become more heavily regulated by the federal government. That's true, but let's be honest, there's more to the story than that. Other firearms companies are dealing with the exact same issue, that being a lesser demand for pistols and rifles and other guns now that former President Barack Obama called the best firearms salesman in history by many because of his expressed desire for gun control measures is out of office. However, whereas Remington is struggling mightily, most firearms companies are managing to survive without declaring bankruptcy and hurting the vendors who are owed money. In fact, some firearms companies, like Weatherby, seem to be on the move to bigger things and to better places. So, spinning this to put the blame solely on presidential politics, as Remington appears to be doing for the media's consumption, well, it ignores some larger truths. Maybe, just maybe, the big wigs in the front offices of Remington and the private equity firm that controls them ought to take a hard look in the mirror and ask themselves, what the heck are you doing to a proud firearms manufacturing company and to the men and women employed there whose livelihood depends on their bosses running a tight ship as opposed to running a ship aground? In other news, we talked about big game hunting in Wyoming earlier this broadcast, but we didn't mention bison, now did we? Believe it or not, there's a bison or a buffalo season in the Cowboy State, and the application period is now open for both residents and non-residents. You've got until February 28th to apply, and draw results will be available May 10th. If you're a Wyoming resident and you're okay with shooting a cow buffalo, it's a reasonable possibility you may draw a tag. As for everyone else who lives in the other 49 states outside of Wyoming, let's just say there's not very many tags available, and your odds of drawing one are right up there with winning the lottery. However, if you're a hunter, this would be one heck of a lottery to win. You can find out more details about applying for your bison tag by going to the Wyoming Game and Fish website. Next on America Outdoors Radio, we are heading to Southern California. San Diego, as a matter of fact. We're talking to Carl Schmidt. He's with San Diego's Fisherman's Landing. They offer day trips and multi-day trips out of San Diego for all sorts of fish for you to catch. Carl, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
So, Carl, let's talk a little bit about what you offer out of San Diego. A lot of folks go there to go fishing. I understand the fishing can be very good, but let's talk about, in particular, springtime. Where are you going? What are folks fishing for during the months of March and April?
Our season is just getting started there. We're going to be fishing calico bass, rockfish, yellowtail. And the way the bluefin tuna fishing's been the last 5 years, bluefin tuna fishing anywhere from 20-pound fish up to well over 200-pound fish on that bluefin. It all depends on our weather conditions right there.
So let's break it down by species, and we'll start off with the rockfish and the calico bass. Where are you catching those? What's the drill? I'm guessing those are your short trips?
Yeah, that could be anywhere from our half-day, three-quarter day and a half trips along the Baja coast there. Most of the half-day, three-quarter day trips leave in the morning, come back in the afternoon, but our really popular trips are the call-in trips. You leave on a Friday night, fish Saturday, come back Sunday morning, and you're fishing rockfish, yellowtail. Your yellowtail will probably be between the 15 to 25 pound class range, and then the rock fishing is just outstanding rock fishing. It's vermilion rockfish, which are going to be in that 8 to 10 pound class, maybe some smaller ones and bigger ones, and lingcod. And they're springtime favorite type of fishing right there. Then if that fishing conditions are right, that bluefin tuna fishing offshore, anywhere from 20 miles to maybe 100 miles off of San Diego, fishing the big bluefin.
That sounds like a lot of fun. But let's talk about the yellowtail, because I know that that's a really popular quarry for you to go after. And a lot of folks probably need an introduction to what the yellowtail is, because I think a lot of folks mistakenly think the yellowtail is a tuna.
No, it's a jack. They pull really hard. Most of that stuff we're catching up and down the coast, like I said, it could be anywhere from 10 pounds to about 30 pounds. Catch them on the fly fishing, which is a sardine or an anchovy with no weight on it. Yo-yo fishing is very popular with the heavy jigs. You drop it down, wind it up as very fast. And if you're from Southern California, the long rods, fishing surface iron, is an excellent way. You throw your jig out as far as possible, wind them in, and you get the fish chasing. It's very exciting to watch, and if you get into it, it's probably the most popular way to do it.
What about the bluefin tuna? How big did those get, and how are folks catching those off the boat?
I would say your average size bluefin is going to be between 20 and 60 or 80 pounds. When you drop in, that's what you're going to ideally catch. But the last 2 years, we've had bluefin well over 200 pounds, and we even had 2 or 3 over 300 pounds this year, fishing within our local waters, within 60 miles of San Diego. So it's going to be either on the Shimano flat fall jigs, which has been probably the most effective way to catch them, or just fishing live bait, fly lining on 60 pound or 80 pound tests with a 2 or a 3 or 4 circle hook.
So here's another question for you. I'm sure you get this all the time. Hey, I don't have any experience fishing for these species. Is that a big deal or not?
Not a big deal at all. You could literally show up in San Diego with your shirt on your back, show up, I want to go fishing, I don't have any tackle, we have you covered. We have anything from catching your rockfish to your big giant tuna, we have you covered. Show up with a backpack with your personal gear, we'll take care of the rest for you.
What about when you get back in terms of how you're taking care of your fish?
Couple different options. On the short trips, the guys on the boat will actually fillet the fish for you, and it'll cost you anywhere from $5 to maybe $10 a fish to have them filleted, and they'll do it to California Fish and Game. Or there'll be processors you could call, or they'll meet you at the boat here, and they'll fillet your fish, vacuum pack it, get all of it done, and they will ship it to you, or it'll be ready to be picked up a couple hours after you drop it off.
So San Diego, right on the border with Mexico. You mentioned you're fishing down Baja Way. What about a passport?
3/4 day trips, you will need them, and some of the day and a halves. If you're fishing within 12 miles of the shoreline, give us a call. We'll let you know if you need them or not. Or any trip longer than 3 days to the 20-day trips, you will definitely need a passport.
All right. And let's talk price range from your least expensive to your most expensive, which of course would be one of these really long trips.
Our half-day trips are very economical. It's $50 per person for adults, $40 for junior, senior, military. That's a 6-hour trip.
That's a great deal.
Yeah, and you're catching yellowtail, bass, rockfish, and yellowtail. Then the 3/4 day trips is just an extended version of that, but fishing the Coronado Islands, more targeting bonita, yellowtail, and tuna during the summer months, and then the other species during the off months there during the winter and springtime. Then our day and a half trip, which is our most popular during the summer, is $380 per person. That includes your Mexican visa, your permit, your bunk, your bait, your boat, and everything like that. The only thing that's not included is beer, soda, and tips. Then on the longer trips than that, you figure between $300 or $400 per day per person, depending on the load of the trip. We have boats from 50 feet to 125 feet, and most of the boats will take anywhere from 12 people to about 30 people, give or take, on each trip, depending on the length.
Sounds like a great experience. So, folks, next time you're in San Diego, skip SeaWorld, go to the world of the sea, and go fishing. And you can do it with San Diego's Fisherman's Landing. Let's give out the website.
www.fishermanslanding.com.
That's fishermanslanding.com, fishermanslanding.com for day trips or longer out of San Diego for all sorts of different species of fish. Sounds like a blast. Thanks for telling us about it, Carl, on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. If you have any questions, give us a call or see the website.
We've got to start wrapping things up at least for another week, but I hope you'll check out our website at americaoutdoorsradio.com. You'll find previews of what's coming up on the show next week and listen to audio from last week's show. Another place to go to on the World Wide Web is our Facebook page. Go to America Outdoors Radio, like our page, and follow it because there's a lot of information we put there that's not found anywhere else. After all, there's only so much any one person can cover when it comes to the outdoors in a single hour. Other places to hear us on the net include talkamericaradio.us. That is the new conservative talk website that is sweeping the web and several terrestrial stations too. And you can hear us on the go, either through YouTube. Our channel is Northwestern Outdoors. That's one word if you want to subscribe to that, or through the Podbean app. And you can find us there at America Outdoors Radio. We'll be back next week with another hour of fishing, hunting, conservation, and the shooting sports. But until then, I hope you are blessed in the days ahead. And I also hope you'll get outside to enjoy some of this fun stuff. Remember, it's your country and your outdoors.